Welcome back to Mikegyver. Today, two power banks that are over 100 watt. Power banks from Amazon step into the lab. My mission: beat both on capacity and price with a DIY build, using brains, not brawn, and a Mikegyver USB C adapter. Can ingenuity outlast the big brands? Stick around. Quick disclosure: no sponsors, no freebies. Every power bank on this bench came out of my own pocket and a dangerously caffeinated budget. First up, the Ugreen power bank, 4.4 stars and about $70. Let's see if those stars still shine once we put it under a steady load and a stopwatch. Wow, look at that. Its max output is 28 volts at 5 amps. Now we're in the big leagues. My USB-C trigger won't unlock that mode for now. But that's okay. Today we're doing old-school fieldwork. Runtime, the truest measure of tank capacity. If you want me to whip up a Mikegyver trigger and unleash the full 28 volts, sound off in the comments. The Ugreen power bank tips the scale at 1 pound, 1 ounce. While we are looking at power banks, let's take a second to talk about staying safe online. This isn't a sponsor spot, just something worth mentioning. When I'm out on a mission, working remotely, hopping on public Wi-Fi, or connecting through random routers, I always use a VPN. A solid VPN like IPVanish can encrypt your internet traffic, hide your IP address, and keep your connection secure no matter where in the world you are. If you're into off-grid setups, traveling, or just value your privacy, check out the link in the description. You'll stay protected, and it helps support the channel. Out of the box, it's sitting at 46%, a factory courtesy charge. Since our future missions head off-grid, I've dialed the USB-C trigger board to 12 volts, Mac Mini M4 setting. As you've seen in prior ops, that's already above a Mac Mini M4 at idle, but right in the pocket for those quick CPU spurts. Perfect for a clean, repeatable baseline. Mission clock is running, stopwatch ticking, meters humming. We'll circle back when the power bank depletes and see how long this held the line. After a few hours on the clock, the Ugreen tapped out at 2 hours and 32 minutes, straight out of the box on that 46% factory charge. Respectable sprint for a cold start. Log it, tag it, and prep the next run. Fresh off a full charge, topped up until the taper went quiet. We're rerunning the 1 amp draw under the same conditions. Same trigger, same load, same room temp. Mission clock armed. Let's see what a full tank really buys us. Timers armed, meters rolling, coffee on standby. We'll let the 1 amp drip do its thing and reconvene in a few hours when the cutoff trips and the runtime tells its story. Mission report: full tank, 1 amp draw, and it held the line for 5 hours and 50 minutes, just shy of a clean 6-hour shift. That's enough runtime to pick a lock, build a USB-C adapter out of spare parts, and still make it back before the coffee goes cold. Log it on the scoreboard. Full tank, 3 amp stress test, go time. In true field ops fashion, I powered everything, except I forgot to record the timer at completion. Good news, the timer didn't forget its mission. We clocked 1 hour 59 minutes, call it 2 hours, before the Ugreen tapped out at 3 amps. Triple the current, about a third of a runtime. Pin it to the scoreboard and move on to the next target. Up next, the Anker 165 watt battery, $120 for 0.6 stars, and a swagger that says, "Trust me, I've got ports and cables." Same gauntlet as before, out of the box runtime, recharge from empty, 1 amp cruise, 3 amp sprint. Let's see if this shiny contender can outlast the Ugreen or just sweat under the bench lights. The Anker tips the scale at 1 pound, 5 ounces, about 4 ounces heavier than the Ugreen. Sturdy enough to keep your schematics from escaping. Light enough to live in the go bag, without pulling your shoulder out of its socket. Bonus feature, a retractable cable, part charging leash, part pocket grappling hook. Perfect for future Mikegyver fishing missions, snagging runaway adapters, reeling in rogue screws, or rescuing a meter that tried to base jump off the bench. Out of the box at 18%, the Anker hung on for 1 hour and 3 seconds before the lights went out. That's a lifeboat charge, not a verdict. Now we top it to 100%, lock a 1 amp draw on the USB C trigger, and see what this brick can really do. Stopwatch ready. Now we start again at 100% charge. Now we're cooking. 6 hours, 11 minutes on a full tank at 1 amp. That edges the Ugreen's 5 hours, 50 minutes by a clean 21 minutes. Recharge complete. Time to light the burners, this time to 12 volts, 3 amps. Stopwatch armed, meters humming. Let's see how long this Anker can sprint before the cutoff trips. Mission log. 3 amp sprint complete. 2 hours and 1 second before the Anker hit cutoff. At 12 volts and 3 amps, that's a respectable sprint with no need to concoct an emergency fire-quenching formula. Scoreboard updated. Now let's see if the DIY Mikegyver rig can outlast it with brains, specially designed Mikegyver USB C adapter, and a Lithium knife attitude. Our original lithium iron phosphate battery pulled a Murdoch and vanished from Amazon, but fear not. There are similar batteries floating around $30. Plenty to power the DIY Mikegyver builds. Scale check. This lithium iron phosphate battery weighs in at 2 pounds, 16 ounces, call it 3 pounds even. Heavy enough to anchor a blueprint in a helicopter draft. Light enough for the go bag. If this mission's your kind of chaos, hit like, tap subscribe, and drop a comment. And if you want to fuel the next unsponsored sortie, there's that thanks icon below. Keeps the Lithium knife sharp, the stopwatch ticking. Alright, field test time. Straight out of the box, 1 amp constant draw. "27 minutes? That is a cat nap, not a mission." I had a Noco Genius battery charger in the garage that can charge lithium iron phosphate batteries. So I clip red to positive, black to negative. Quick multimeter sanity check. Set the charger to the lithium iron phosphate profile and let it climb to a full charge, around 14.4 volts. Then wait for the green light and the current taper. Again, setting this to 1 amp draw. Mission report. 15 hours and 21 minutes at 1 amp locked to 12 volts. About 180 watt-hours delivered at the output. That's a marathon by any bench standard. Vaulting past the big brand packs. Stopwatch reset. Next up, the 3 amp trial. Final trial. With the Mikegyver USB C adapter locked at 12 volts, 3 amps, it ran for 5 hours and 10 seconds before cutoff. Same 180 watt-hours delivered at the output. Voltage stayed tidy, temps behaved, and I never had to rig a spoon-based heat sink. Scoreboard updated. The lithium iron phosphate rig holds its ground. Bottom line, at 1 amp, the Mikegyver lithium iron phosphate rig ran more than double the competition. And at 3 amps, it also cleared the 2 times mark. On price per watt-hour, it left the brand name bricks eating dust. Value champ by a mile. perfect setup for our next mission. A mobile workstation that runs all day from remote locations, powered by the Mikegyver USB C adapter. Want that build in the next episode? Hit subscribe, drop your wish list in the comments, and if you want to fuel the missions, the thanks icon help keep the solder flowing and the paperclip heat sinks strictly optional. Still here? This isn't a Marvel post-credit scene. You've wandered into the workshop. If you're lingering because that subscribe button is whispering your name, hit it. Then swing over to mikegyver.com, where I stash the concept missions that don't fit on the bench. Bring your ideas. I'll bring the soldering iron, flux, heat shrink, and a custom Mikegyver job or two. Drop feedback. Wishlist the next build. And if you want to fuel the unsponsored chaos, there's a tip jar. See you on the next stop.